Hey, what is up everybody? Blades for here, and today we guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be going ahead and going over Tartarus, seeing that it's coming back on TWKR as well as currently on CN. And I know a lot of you guys are recently starting this type version, so it's going to be your first time going through it. So what better time to explain it than just now? So hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and if you do, please do hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It does help me out quite a lot, and we're getting even closer to 16K than I've ever freaking imagined. Thank you guys for all the freaking support recently. It's been awesome, and let's get straight into the video. Now I'm going to do this video a little bit different. It's going to have some gameplay. It's going to have me just doing some random cuts, and I think that's probably going to be the best way to do it because there's a lot of things that I feel like it needs to be shown for visual. Plus, with how long Tartarus does at least take, I don't want to try and do a whole run on video because that's probably going to be an hour-long video, and that's at minimum, by the way. An hour-long to 2-hour-long video, so I don't really want to do all of that stuff here. So I'll try my best to explain it to just the best of my capacity. But first things first, we have, of course, how it does look. To get to this screen early on TWKR, you can get on here still now. You just have to press this little hat. It's going to bring up the event menu, click the two arrows at the bottom right, or sorry, the bottom left, and it's pretty much going to be where the crossfade stuff is as well at the beginning of the game. But if you look to the left hand side, it's going to say P3 reload. And this has several different chapters, being of course Makoto Yuki, Yukari, and Akihiko, all of which that you want to get through because they do give gems and give you a little bit of a story that you want to go ahead and follow. But the one that we're going to look at is Tartarus. Now Tartarus takes a long time. As you can see, I only have 94% done, and that's majority of what you need to have done, but the rest of it is some small missions that we also have to complete as well. But it's going to bring you to this area here, and you can have a lot of things to go over. Some things to get familiar with the UI, of course. Top right is where you have your percentage of Tartarus itself, as well underneath is going to be the difficulty you've completed and the floor you've completed as your highest. As for the bottom here, you can see the various little tabs being story, antiques being the items that you can use at the beginning and actually have this as your passive item, mastery being this huge little skill tree that you do want to go ahead and get unlocked here and slowly fill out. Some of you guys from HSR may know about this as well. When it comes down to, like, I want to say Sim Universe or anything like those, such as what's it called, the little bug mode as well. I gotta remember exactly what it's called, but you have those modes and they usually have a skill tree. That's going to be the same thing here. Then you have some missions which can give you various different items. Some of these missions I haven't even cleared because they are very much so tedious. All of them give you some gems, or at least give you some items themselves, so you do want to get them completed. And then you have your team. Now the team function is a little bit interesting here. I was going to put this as a little bit of a cut, but I actually can do this right now because of course we're explaining all the functions. When it comes down to your teams, what you need to know is you don't have to own these characters. All these characters can be gotten just by playing Tartarus itself. It's just going to require some of these hearts. These hearts can be actually gotten throughout the entire run. By getting a ton of them, you'll be able to unlock some of these units to then be able to use them in any of your runs. This goes for just the basic characters, but it also goes for your navies. So either way, you don't have to own these characters. Don't worry that you have to get every last 5-star. That's not the case. You're going to be using any and every character when it does come down to this. So not even 4 stars out of the question. As you can see, I have Closer in here, Soy in here. So yeah, you are going to need to have this at least at the back of your hand at all times. But now we explained the UI and explained how that does go here. Tartarus is comprised of over 12 different difficulties and then a maximum of 18 floors. Where you can change this go ahead difficulty here, you would end up clicking this here and pressing continue after you chose your characters. After you do something like this, it allows you to choose your difficulty, and with this in mind here, the floors will differ as well as the reward amounts. Currently at 12, you're able to get 3.2, and as you slowly go down, it goes to a minimum of 0.5 up to a floor 1 minimum of 1x of your reward. All of this is going to slowly go up as you end up beating this, so don't worry about it at the beginning. Of course, you just want to climb up Tartarus as much as possible and get it all done. Now where I'm going to start doing the cuts is around here, so enjoy the show. All right, so getting straight into like how Tartarus does work here, you're usually going to load into a screen like this, where now you have to choose some characters as well as some buffs. All these characters are going to be ones that you can very well go ahead and use here, and they're going to be very essential to your run itself. Currently at the beginning, you're usually going to end up getting one of these characters. Sometimes you can get 2. It's a weird little function. I think it's if you beat, of course, Tartarus, you're able to at least choose more of these cards early in. but you end up choosing the card and choosing some buffs if you end up get that chance as well, and then you can start your journey. Now the key part about your journey around Tartarus is the thing at the very top called will. Will is a very expensive situation. This is something that you need to keep an eye on at all times when you're going through the game, and that's because will itself dictates whatever the heck you can do. If you do not have enough will, you're probably not going to win this game, and that's because will itself does provide different buffs. Now these buffs, depending on at least having around what's it called, the 50 and above will, could be very good. If you're at like 0 to 49, it's a decent amount of them. You don't really get too many buffs. I think it's like a neutral, but where things become very dangerous is when you start getting into the negatives, because with the negatives comes various different debuffs that will utterly harm your team and make it absolutely difficult for you to do anything inside of Tartarus. Lord forbid you get to at least -100 or anything way lower than -50, because if you end up losing, you will end up getting kicked out of Tartarus itself. Much like how we have, of course, palaces, and if you get too much of a what's called scanned up radar, where the shadows now know you're there at all times, if they find you, you will get kicked out. The same thing is the same way with at least Tartarus, where if you end up having too much of this, you will end up getting kicked out and you just lose the entire run. This is very much so a bad deal, because on the off chance that you end up failing said run, well, all of your things that you collected inside of Tartarus, including your team, is now gone. It is a roguelike game mode, so on that point of chance on just battles and as well as RNG, you get kicked out, that's your butt. Yeah, it's over and you have to restart. So it can be very annoying as you slowly go up. But as you go through Tartarus itself, there are various things you want to also look at. At the top right, you have your S level, which is going to allow you to kill a lot of these shadows a lot quicker. Deciding on if your S level is higher, it does upgrade your team, and it also makes it so you can insta-kill mobs throughout the levels. As you go up each level, the S level needs to be higher no matter how you do it, which you're going to end up getting a lot of XP from just killing a ton of mobs, or even sometimes get extra XP low bonuses from cards that you could very well find. Now the next thing that you want to go ahead and pay attention to is these two currencies underneath, which is going to be a gear currency and one that looks like a star. When it comes down to the star currency here, that's going to allow you to pick different buffs being on your character awarenesses, or being able to go ahead and use these for will. There usually are these things at the end, which we'll explain a little bit more, that will give you will or allow you to pick different characters. So that currency is going to be explained even more so later down the line. As for the one on the left being the gear currency, you're going to get this every time you fight a mob pretty much or break something. These currencies themselves are going to slowly go up here, and with this in mind, it will also be part of a different function that we're going to explain in the future that allows you to buy different things as well as different characters. But keep trucking your way through, of course, Tartarus through various means of just killing different mobs. These mobs aren't going to be too hard at first, but they can get very feisty later on. Every now and again, you may find yourself in front of a red mist here, which usually is going to be a locked door unless of course you kill the mob in front of it. And every last mob that you do kill, you will end up getting a buff for, so don't worry about that. It's the same way for the actual red mist doors, and these red mist doors themselves usually lead to the staircase to go up to the next floor. Now, one of the other things that you want to know about the mist themselves is there is the golden mist as well that we see all the time inside of different little fights. These little golden mist areas, you can unlock them by going ahead and getting enough currency. Currently, I can't show that on my end because of course we have a buff that makes it so those just never appear. So eventually, as you get up your currency and go through Tartarus, those will never show up ever again, and it'll be a lot easier for you. But if you cleared everything on the floor, you can then go up the tower, or at least go up the stairs, and it's going to take you to the next floor. Each floor is getting gradually harder, and they're going to have various different mobs and various different things that you want to look at. Every so often, you could very well come across a room with either a chest in it that could very well give you some different buffs, or even give you just straight up keys and the currency that you do need to continue on. If you do find these various keys, they could help you out on getting your will back, or even getting extra buffs and character dupes to help your time throughout the Tartarus section be a little bit easier. So after just explaining the full-on just basis of this here, every so often you are going to find a mini boss. As you go up here, it's going to get more and more difficult, so don't think that it's always just going to be a walk in the park. I do believe that on the 5th at least floor here, after you go up the staircase a while here, you'll be able to find a mini boss. These mini bosses are going to start very easy, and you'll think everything's going very smooth. But once you get higher, they get way more ignorant and way more annoying. I do believe the first time we do find up a mini boss here is going to be on the 3rd floor or the 5th floor. So you're slowly going to see these guys a lot more often. So be very careful when you're taking them on, because they can pose a huge threat. The likelihood that you have no will, it definitely will be a hard fight, and none of your characters will end up winning, especially if your will's in the negatives. So surely do keep that in mind. Now on the right hand side that I forgot to at least explain here, you do have various missions. Each floor will tell you that you either have a boss to fight, to have some NPCs to collect here, or even some things such as a special door, which is called the Nomad door. You'll end up finding that, and you could very well fight it in order to deal some crazy damage, or at least get some crazy good gifts out of it as well. Though it's not going to be easy feat, so do keep that in mind. But other than that, we've pretty much explained all the basics, so let's get to some of the things that can help you out along your journey. One of the few things that you're going to find out on these different floors is going to be a small clock here. Now it's going to look like a grandfather's clock, and you want to go up and walk to it. These itself are going to require a certain currency. Remember I said that star currency might come in handy later on? This is where you're really going to see it. As you collect these said star currencies, which can sometimes be keys or sometimes be something else here, you want to go ahead and click that area, because what it allows you to do is pull up this menu, and it'll give you 2 different options. One of the options itself will be increasing your will, which is always a good thing. Be able to at least be sure to get this at least once, because your first one is usually free. As for your next few, they're going to start costing that currency that you need. So at the top one, being the top function, this is going to allow you to go ahead and get some will to help you out by 30. And then the bottom one, depending on the amount of currency it does take up, will end up giving you a character or giving you a character dupes. Usually it's a character's dupes that you're going to get out of here, because it goes off the amount of characters that you have, which is great. Now the only problem with doing this is it is based on the characters you have. If you don't have the character, then you're going to pose that to be a little bit of a problem, because you don't want to use too many things, or at least too many of your keys or your currency that can really be helpful for just getting your will up instead of getting a character. The will is the biggest thing here, so if you're able to at least have 120 will, you should be pretty much good every single time. So then that allows you to really go ahead and invest into your characters a little bit more. But keep these currencies at your at least side pocket here, because that's going to help you out throughout the entire deal, and it will allow you to be way easier on beating the bosses in the long run. But there also is one other thing that you can find inside of the tower itself. Now this thing, you will find it later on in the tower, because they're usually not very early in, and that is going to be a huge clock. And when I say a huge clock, it is gigantic. This clock here, you're going to want to go ahead and find whenever you have a ton of different currency. Main reason for it is because it's like a shop. When you do find it here, there's going to be a lot of different things you can go ahead and buy out of it. There's going to be, of course, the attack cards, which are going to help you with perma attack buffs, being the red ones. There's going to be these green looking cards, which sometimes are situational cards, such as every one battle you get more XP, or either we give you a little bit more gold. It's always going to be something like that. Just, you gotta kind of figure out what each one does mean. And then you have the blue cards, which are probably the most important ones as well. Some of them are permanent and other ones aren't permanent as well, but they can very well help you out on getting different things, such as the currency that we need at our top right, which allows us to select more will or either select more characters. And they can also give you different cards, such as Arcana cards and characters themselves. Now, Arcana cards I haven't explained too much in this, mainly because they're kind of self-explanatory. They're kind of like huge old buff cards here. Each one of them are going to have their own purpose here, so you will need to read them to figure out exactly what you need. Sometimes if you run a full team of male characters, you get a gigantic buff. And if you run a full team of female characters, you get a gigantic buff as well. But it will be heavily dependent. So these cards mean a lot to you. They can be very expensive in here. So you do want to keep in mind that you need to have some discounts, being from the blue cards sometimes, or even sometimes the green cards, in order to keep yourself afloat. This is going to be a huge management thing that you're going to need to do inside of Tartarus. So if you're not good at doing that, you're going to have a hell of a time when doing this. So really do keep that in mind. But that's all we had to explain for at least the clocks here. We're going to get to the last part of this, which is going to be the bosses. Now, after you've climbed every last floor, going through all this hellhole of absolutely dying over and over again, or either killing all of these mobs over and over again, you're going to make it to the last floor. The last floor is going to give you two options here. That is to win the fight and continue on with a different fight, which even if you lose that fight is not going to hurt you, or to win the fight and just end the game right then and there and just go up your difficulty level, or to just straight up lose the fight itself. Now, I do apologize about my voice, by the way. I'm not feeling too good today, but hopefully things go well. Or just lose in general, which is not always a good thing to do. So you do need to be prepared for this. On the likelihood that you lose this, all your hard work is going down the drain. None of this really saves, and you have to restart from floor 1. Now, what you do get, of course, is a bunch of different prizes that are going to help you out to upgrade your statuses on that lovely little wheel I was talking about of buffs. So that could be a plus, but we don't ever want to lose these things because we want to make sure we're getting the utmost amount of prizes. So if you can win this here, you're going to end up going up your actual difficulty level. It'll save that said floor that you've beaten, and you get to restart the whole experience again. The only difference is you get a lot more what's called prizes themselves and a lot more currency to upgrade that skill tree of yours, making it a lot easier for you to get whatever you need done, and as well get some missions done as well. It's going to be very nice to do so, but just keep in mind, this is never going to be an easy walk in the park. There are some ways that you will be able to clear this very easily, but there's also a ton of ways that you can end up getting just chopped off by at least RNG itself. So surely do keep that in mind. Tartarus is a no joke game mode, and without a doubt, I feel like it's the hardest one inside of P5X. But you guys let me know when you get to try it yourselves. Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Let me know down below in the comment section, and man, we gonna be ready for those damn streams. So look out for it then. Peace out, you guys.